This is AI.R. Artists in Residence Broadcasting, coming to you once a week from New York City.
Hello, I'm John Cullum, and this is Emily Franco.
And we are going to have a discussion
Yes,
for my
we
blog
are.
for M's Talkery.
What is it going to be, Emily?
Conservation.
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 That sounds boring.
No, it's not boring.
It's not?
No, we need to be very aware of electricity. We need to be very aware that the lights that we're burning that in this room are using precious energy.
Well, now, you've been aware of that for a long time. You've been on my case a bit. So why do you bring it up now?
Well, I read something in Time magazine about China.
China?
China has more people than we have in our country.
Yes. Well,
Each American uses 5 times more electricity than an average person in Shanghai, China.
well,
Gee, that's 5 times more electricity, and China is trying to do things to repair their energy problem. And, well, Obama is trying to do something about the electrical grid, but we don't know if that's going to happen because he's got so many things he's being stopped from doing.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll happen and maybe they won't.
no.
So I feel as an individual, we gotta save electricity.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to point out in our favor that there's a lot of Chinese people who live on farms and stuff, and they don't use very much electricity. But that means that we have a long way to go in terms of saving what we can, because we use so much. We do have an opportunity to save some.
Yes, we do.
But there are other places that you might.
Well, we can conserve, for instance, save water.
Oh, yes.
Water is a problem all over the world.
And it's
and
going to
in
be a
here.
bigger problem later on. It's
In
getting
fact,
worse.
the rates that we're paying now for water have been raised again this year. It's twice this year. But keeping faucets turned off, for instance, when you brush your teeth,
Yes.
do you turn the water off between the time that you put toothpaste on your brush and while you're brushing, or do you keep the water running?
Well, I have to tell the people who are listening to this program that Emily has been on my case for a long time, and now I do, even though she doesn't know it, I do turn the water off between brushing and getting my toothbrush wet.
The reason why I don't know is he has a separate bathroom for me.
That's right.
Am I not lucky?
Yeah, you certainly
My
are.
bathroom is green and his is blue.
Yes. Well, also, I since you reprimanded me a few times, I turn on the water and save it without letting it flow down the sink, and use that water to start my wash the next time I come in and help to
They're
rinse
just
my hands.
small things that anybody can do, but I think that it's important. For instance, we have to turn on the water to make it hot because
That's right.
when we do our water dishwasher, a lot of water just is used
It goes
and goes
down the
the drain just while we're getting it hot. So we gather that water and we put it into a pot so that's what we're going to use for cooking the corn on cob in.
That's right. And you haven't talked about. We do pretty well on the recycling. And
Yes.
what about the heat?
What about rubber bands?
All rubber bands.
John preserves rubber bands.
I'd say that's obsessive on my part rather than
He
conservative.
takes rubber bands off of the mail and puts them on the doorknob. He takes rubber bands off vegetables and puts them on the doorknob. But you do things to conserve heat.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Well, we use curtains, heavy curtains in our building, on our floors to cover the windows in the winter. And sometimes on certain of the windows, I've got plastic sheeting plastered over them to try to save heat. And I think that's helpful.
Also, you wear double layers of clothing when
Right.
you go outside.
Kind of English style.
And as English people do, we're wearing much more clothes in the inside of the house than we ever used to, because the heat in our building is about 68 as opposed to 70.
72.
We couldn't keep it at 72.
No.
So I just want
Why do you say that? Why couldn't we? We could, but we shouldn't.
well, we would be using a tremendous amount of natural gas.
Yeah.
All these things need to be conserved. So I'm just doing a conversation about conservation.
Well, I have to approve of your subject, and I approve of the way that you've done it, and I think you deserve some kind of recompense for this subject. Can I give you a little kiss on the cheek? Thank you, and join us next weekend.
Wait a minute.
What?
I think I'll give you one back.
Oh, I'm speechless. You're going to have to say goodbye.
Okay, we will see you next week on air broadcasting, and here's what John always does. Goodbye.
This is AI.R. See you next week.